Hey everybody, it's Russell Matthews here, and I'm back again with another Canadian benefit update for you. At this point, absolutely everybody knows that the CERB has transferred over to the CRB, along with the CRSB and the CRCB, which are sort of other support benefits that are very similar to the CRB. But just because you can't claim the CERB for these current week periods, it doesn't mean that there isn't more news and potential deadlines coming up for the CERB, and I'll explain what I mean. It's true that you can't claim the CERB for current periods because that's been taken over by the CRB, but you can retroactively apply for payments from the CERB. But my news that I'm bringing you today, and this was announced a little while ago, but I want to make sure that you know, is that there is a deadline for this retroactive CERB payment. But you might be thinking, Russell, if I could have applied for the CERB back then, I would have. Why would I need to apply retroactively? Well, there's a large amount of people who either didn't realize that they were eligible for the CERB and now want to claim that money, or they were trying not to have to use that money and were trying to stand on their own 2 feet for those months. But now that this pandemic has dragged on longer, people are finding they could use the extra help, and it's a huge benefit for them if they can go back and receive this money that they were initially entitled to, but may not have wanted to take, if at all possible. And as a bonus, if you're somebody who didn't realize that you were eligible back then and you've continued to live all the way up to now without needing that money, now is a great opportunity to take that money that you were entitled to because of your qualifications and use that money to set yourselves up for a more financially stable future. Because after all, that's what this channel is all about, bringing information to Canadians as quickly and accurately as possible so that they can set themselves and their family up for a more stable financial future. If you can receive this $2,000 of CERB money and open your first investment account or create an emergency fund for yourself, that could have a huge impact on your future. By the way, if you're interested in staying up to date with Canadian news about money and finance and wealth building, then you're going to want to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. I'm posting videos like this all the time, so you're bound to learn something helpful. And while you're at it, hit that like button and turn it blue, because when you do, it spreads the video to hundreds of people who could be looking for just this information. I'm sure they would definitely appreciate it, and I would appreciate your help in growing the channel. But with that said, let's get into exactly what this deadline is so you can put it onto your calendar and make sure you get this finished if you're one of the people who can qualify for these retroactive payments. We're going to go over when that deadline was, how you can apply, and the sort of qualifications briefly to make sure that you actually qualify and that you're not applying fraudulently after the fact now. So this is the Government of Canada's official website for the Canada Emergency Response Benefit, and it says it's closed, but it says even though the CERB has ended, the CRA is continuing to accept and process retroactive applicants until December 2nd, 2020. This is the deadline that we're talking about. After this date, all CERB payments will be unavailable. So if you don't make all of your applications before this date, then you snooze, you lose. You won't be able to claim any of the CERB money that you may have been entitled to. So if you're going to apply for this benefit, depending on which period you are applying for, there's going to be a different method for applying for it. So you'll see here periods 5 to 7, you can apply through the CRA's My Account or through the automated toll-free line at 1-800-959-2019 or 1-800-959-2041. So this is the easiest method, and if you're only applying for this period, it'll be the most seamless because you can apply just through the CRA's My Account, which is a very easy web page that I'm going to show you in a little bit, or you can call through the automated toll-free line where you don't have to talk to a human. You can just go through their automated sort of option selection menu to qualify for these periods from period 5 to 7. But on the other hand, for periods 1 to 4, that's March, April, May, and June, whereas 5 to 7 is March, April, May, June, July, August, and September. I need to clearly get my months straight. But for periods 1 to 4, it says you can apply by speaking to one of our agents at 1-800-232-1966. And it says that you should note that you may be required to provide additional documentation to the CRA prior to your application being approved. Now, this sort of documentation, it could be a number of things. Of course, you're going to have your SIN number along with your address and some other information so that they can verify it's you. But you also may be required to submit proof that you made the $5,000 that you were required to make last year in order to be eligible. So they may require a little bit more proof if you're applying for these benefits that happened a little bit earlier, right in March, April, May, around that time frame when everything was going down. So it should be smooth sailing when you apply if you're applying for those periods 5, 6, and 7. Super easy to do, especially if you're familiar with these newer benefits, the CRB. You're going to be applying in a very similar way. We'll switch over to my CRA account so that I can show you how you can apply if you're applying for these 3 later periods of the CERB retroactively. And remember, you're going to want to get this done before December 2nd because that is the upcoming deadline. If you don't apply for these retroactive payments, you won't have any chance to get this money after that date. That's the main thing I want to emphasize here. So here we are. I logged into my CRA account. You'll see, yep, it's true. My name is Russell Matthews. I don't have my security code, but this doesn't matter really here. When we go down to this COVID-19 support payment section, this is where you can choose whether you want to apply for the CRB or the CERB, and you can click right here to apply for these retroactive payments. Now what it will do, it will take you to this secondary page that's kind of a survey to check if you are eligible for it. So these eligibility criteria, and they have to apply to you in order to receive this money. And it says you have not applied for nor are you receiving the Canada Emergency Response Benefit or employment insurance benefits from Services Canada for the same eligibility period. This just means that you can't be receiving 2 benefits at once or the same benefit from 2 different people, right? You have to be on one or the other. You have to reside in Canada, you have to be 15 years of age or older, have not quit your job voluntarily, and you have earned a minimum of $5,000 income in the last 12 months or in 2019. So this you have not quit your job voluntarily clause, that's a little bit more overarching than the CRB's information on this clause, because for the CRB, it gives you all the way up until the end of September. If you had quit your job prematurely in the beginning phases of the pandemic, you could be eligible for CRB. But for the CERB, if you quit voluntarily at all, you won't be able to receive it. And when we scroll down here, it says a little bit more information about which application this is. So if it's your first CERB application, you have to meet this qualification. And for your subsequent CERB applications, you need to have to continue to not work for those COVID-19 related reasons. Now, when we scroll down here, this is where you get to the real information of which selection you're going to make for the period that you're applying for. You can click this drop down menu and it will show you the 3 periods. That's periods 5, 6, and 7, I believe. And that's for July, August, and September. So you can just select this on the menu and then click next, and it will tell you whether or not you are eligible. Now, I didn't click any buttons here, so it's telling me I'm not eligible. But for you, if you selected the right fields there and you marked off that you were eligible for all those categories, you should be taken to a successful application page, and you should expect that money in relatively close to 3 to 5 business days, right? We've seen 3 to 5 business days pretty consistently for the CERB when it was being doled out, and for the CRB. Now, if you're receiving that by mail, you don't have direct deposit set up, that could be anywhere up to, I believe, 12 business days. So that's generally the time frame that you could expect this extra money. So that covers what the deadline is for these retroactive CERB payments and how you can go about applying for these periods. Again, if you're applying for the earlier periods, you're going to have to call those numbers we talked about earlier in the video. Now, again, if you're in the unique position that maybe you didn't know that you were eligible for CERB and now you're realizing, hey, you know what, I actually was eligible based on these requirements and now you can receive this money, this is the perfect opportunity to set up a financial foundation for yourself that can help you be more stable for the future. Again, that's what this channel is all about. Yesterday, I made a video about my 3 top tips for how you can handle and manage your money in preparation for a potential second wave of lockdowns. Now, regardless of where you lay on that sort of spectrum of whether or not you think these lockdowns are necessary or if you think they're overblown, we have to work in the framework that we're given, right? So these are some tips that can help you prepare for these potential second lockdowns that could see a rise in unemployment. So check out that link down there in the description if you're interested in that. There's also a link down there where you can start investing with one of my favorite brokerages, which is Wealthsimple. It's a super easy, super slick investment brokerage where you can just do it all from your phone and start investing today and start learning about investing today, because that's what can set you and your family up for a more stable financial future. But I want to know more specifically about your situation. I reply to all the comments that I get guaranteed within the first hour of any video that's posted, and I try to read as many comments as I can down below. So let me know, what's your individual situation? Are you somebody who's going to be able to get this CERB retroactively, or did you take it all at the time? Or have you been able to go without this for the entirety of this pandemic situation because of some positive financial decisions you made in the past? Either way, I'd love to know, so drop a comment down there in the comments box. Also, if there's somebody that you love or somebody that you care about that could benefit from this advice, who may have been eligible for the CERB but just didn't take it for whatever reason, make sure to click that share button and send this video their way, because it can make a huge difference. The couple $1,000s here and there that they may not have been expecting could be the difference between prospering, or at least being stable, and getting into a very poor financial position. But with all that said, thank you to everybody for watching. I really hope this video helped you at least a little bit, and I'll see you next time.